Well, good morning and good late afternoon on Tuesday, February 7th, 2012. You're listening to Brian and Gabe. And
where's it late afternoon?
It's late afternoon in Europe. Or is it actually evening?
I believe they call that night.
Okay, so it's night and it's mid-afternoon. Okay, well, there's got to be an island somewhere between New York and France.
In the Azores.
Yeah, there you go. In the Azores. Yeah. Good job, Jack.
Man.
Jack is now our geography guy.
with geography beats. So this week it's just the three of us this week to sort of discuss everything we skipped last week. And we're first now with our new time slot, which for me being on the West Coast is much better than how it was before.
I feel marginally more alert.
I'll tell you what. I was used to doing this at 10 o'clock in the morning my time, Central Time, and when we did that Peter Bloom cast when I was in San Francisco, that sucks, man. I can't believe that we've been doing it like this whole time.
Right,
so
we've been telling you that.
I'm 100% behind this.
So I figure what we could kind of do is we've been writing about a lot of stuff the past few weeks. One of the things that we did, and I don't know if anyone noticed since, I guess it was like our New Year's resolution. We started having a sort of regular writing schedule.
Starting the third week of the year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but did we only start a few weeks ago? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, we phoned it in the first couple.
Bottom line is we're writing stuff every day. And so that means that it's definitely, because before I know we were writing a few things here and there, but writing stuff every day is I don't know, it's good for traffic, I guess, and there's lots to talk about. And we have an actual editorial calendar and everything now, so
it's good when there's a lot to talk about. We'll see what happens, come July when things are a little lean.
We've still got a couple hundred posts in the list of sort of ideas to write about. So
yeah.
But that also means when we do these shows 1 week apart, when we go back and look at the stuff in the last week, there's actually a lot of articles we did in the last week that we can talk about.
We should share that list someday with the community just so they can see what's on there, because some of that stuff is like 5 years old. I swear to God, there's something in there about bear paw. I mean, there's some really ancient stuff.
Let's make a survey. Justin, take that as an action item to make a survey of the 200 items we have on our on our list to talk about. So let's just kind of look at what we were talking about this week, and I guess we can sort of start off. I don't know. We'll start how about with Shawn's article. So I think a lot of people know that Shawn. Well, probably everyone knows Shawn Bass. He's 9-time Bri Forum speaker. He is still teaching the independent training classes that we sort of did back before we joined Tech Targets. Yeah. Shawn was teaching those classes back then, and he's still doing that, and consulting, Citrix, CTP, Microsoft MVP, etc. And he started blogging for us this year. So I think the first 2 blog posts he did, his first one did like 4,000 views in the first day, which I don't think I've ever had a blog post that did 4,000 views in the first day. So his blogs have been really popular. He's done 2 posts so far.
And he writes like he speaks. There's as many words crammed into a Shawn Bass article as there are in a presentation, I think. But they're all awesome, which is just like a Shawn Bass presentation.
We were joking because his first article was like 4,000 words long, which is about twice as long as typical articles that I write. Well, typical, like
it's 1 word per page.
Twice long is my average, my maximum. But the thing is with Shawn is he, so the article is really long on paper, but if you listen to how fast that guy talks, like, hey, my article's 10 minutes, his article's 10 minutes. It's just that his has twice as many words in the thing.
Should use a smaller font.
But so we've had Shawn's article this week was why thin clients and zero clients have not lived up to the last PC you'll ever buy hype, and so the one thing that I read in this article that he sort of pointed out, there's all the hype about the power consumption, mean time between failure, and all that kind of stuff. But one thing I didn't really think about, which I think I like that he pointed out, was that Linux thin clients are the cheap ones, but the experience on Linux thin clients is really poor also. Mm-hmm. So for a lot of people to get the real, like if you want the best RDP and best like HDX experience, then you have to have a Windows thin client. And like so he got into the media remoting and how the GDI primitives remoting and how you can send like GDI primitive to Windows clients, but if they're not Windows clients, then you have to send like the whole rasterized image, which is going to lead to worse performance. And that I mean, I feel like that these are good points, and because if you're having Windows on your thin client, now we're getting into the whole thing we talked about before, which is you've got thin clients that are, you've got to add them to the domain and have, antivirus on them and security patches and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, can you guys hear me all right? Because I can barely hear you, but if you can hear me, I can weigh in on stuff.
Yeah, no problem. I think Justin can up the volume we send to you.
No. It's not a volume thing. It's a crappy Skype thing.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Right.
Well, we can hear you just fine.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, what he mentions in there is that that thin clients aren't future proof, and so you mentioned the mean time between failure, and all of that really holds true. The thin client you bought 10 years ago probably still works today, but it probably hasn't kept up with the times. I mean, if you're still using the same solution you bought 10 years ago when you bought that thin client, have at it. I'm sure that thing is just peachy for you, but you probably upgraded your platform. Your users and their requirements have probably grown as time goes by. You probably need to do all sorts of extra, multimedia redirection and things like that the clients just weren't designed for back then. So expecting a thin client when you buy it to last for 7 years or even 5 years, really, let alone 9 or 10, is just, it's kind of crazy unless you don't ever plan on upgrading your environment that you're actually accessing. So. And I think in there he says that they have about the same lifespan as a PC, maybe an extra year or so, but that's about all you can expect to get out of it.
That's true because at a bare minimum, like the ports and just the fact that that thin client that I had 5 years ago still works great. But
yeah, right. Did our first Win terms did they even have USB ports?
Right, they did not, and it's got one display and it's VGA. So, I mean, I can display one VGA awesome right now on the thin client just as well as, but, we don't know. Although the new thin clients have USB 3 and which I think they almost do on purpose just so they can make a shorter lifespan.
Yeah, and then 4 years from now when USB 4 is out and these, while they may still be functioning, they won't have USB 4 and, whatever new cool stuff comes out.
And this is why I wasn't mad when your cousin got drunk at a party that we had and peed all over my Win term, because it was already obsolete anyway. So I didn't get mad that he destroyed it.
And right. By the way, that one. First of all, the story is true. Secondly, it was one of the ones. Remember, it was integrated. So it was the CRT.
It was the all-in-one.
The glass CRT monitor that had a thin client built into it.
But you could it had thumb screws on it. So you could unscrew and pull out the thin client part and replace that alone if the thin client part went bad. So you didn't have to get a whole new all-in-one unit.
So it wasn't really all-in-one. It's like might as well have been 2 zip ties. Because the thing is, there's so much room inside these things, Like the CRT, the whole back is just like protecting the ion gun or whatever. So why not just like, you could fit a full computer inside a CRT. You don't need to limit it to just a thing.
I think that's called an iMac.
Yeah, really. I think that's true. I think that the Win term standalone terminals that you could buy also had the same. You could actually pull those guts out and put them into that all-in-one if you wanted to.
If they just had clear frames, clear shells in those days, and showed the insides instead of. They had thin clients built into keyboards back in the day too. So like your keyboard had a VGA port on it.
and now they're built into wall outlets and all.
Yeah.
So we've just been building thin clients into things for 15 years. That's their motto.
The people out there listening can't see that during the last 5 minutes of this conversation about crazy thin clients, I've been leaning back from the microphone and just cracking up.
You're allowed to crack up on the microphone. Hey, but they can see because we have a camera. So we're trying something new. We're not doing live streaming because I don't trust. Our company told us we had 100 megabits of bandwidth, but I think that's hogwash. But we are recording ourselves, and we'll pop that into YouTube. So we'll see if I don't know if there's any value in looking at us about this kind of stuff. You can
probably not. So I'm so used to not being looked at now for these radio shows. I mean, who knows? I promise that I don't make a habit of picking my nose, even if it looks like I do, because I'm on the side here. So